Good morning, mate. How are you? You can say it back, you know, and you can answer me, actually, if you want. You can say good morning, you either type it, or you can just say it, because I know some of you say it to the screen, which I think is mental, but I'm here for it. It's Friday. Where's the chickens at? I can see one hen. What else we got? Just see the one. Oh, wrong one. Trying to zoom in. There we go. Nope, that's not the zoom. There we go. Is that it? Trying to zoom in, lads, can't do it. Just see the one. Just talking now. Where's the rest of them? Maybe they're in the house. Maybe they're just chilling. There you go. First minute chicken watch. Bosh. Anyway, yeah, Friday. Almost made it. Had a busy old day yesterday. We had the kits arrive at Paddock HQ, and Janine spent all day just counting them in. I believe they'll be going out today, so some of you might get, if you live local enough, some of you might get them tomorrow. Rest of you will probably start to see them Monday, Tuesday, and if you live overseas, probably by the end of the week or the start of the following week. But she wasn't happy with you Irish lads and ladies, I'll tell you that. All of the addresses, Alaska, fucking Hawaii, Norway, whatever it is on the Royal Mail website, you're able to import those. Irish ones have to be typed out by hand. And we got a lot of Irish fans, so she was fucking cursing yous yesterday. Just thought I'd share that little bit of nugget of information, but hey, I like yous, so there's that, I guess. Anyway, what we're talking about today, we're talking about one of my favourite topics, Eric Cantona. Now for me, football was a game, and it was no more important to me than Thundercats or the Nintendo. It was just another thing, and I wasn't really in love with it. Paul Ince was my favourite player at the time. Why Paul Ince? And has it influenced your decision to wear short shorts? Probably, with the latter. And with the former, because to a 6-7-year-old, Paul Ince is all action. And we like to pretend, because he went and played for Liverpool afterwards, that he isn't that good, wasn't that good. But let me tell you something straight. Let's be brutally honest here for a second. Paul Ince was fucking unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Quality midfielder. And do you know what? If we had a short wearing Manchester United era Paul Ince right now, we wouldn't be in anywhere near half the shit that we are. So Paul Ince was my favourite player. To sort of almost typify the simplicity of action, tackle, pass, in which I saw the game. But then this French fella arrived. And he actually arrived the day of my 9th birthday party. Sorry, it was a week before my actual birthday. But he arrived on the day of my 9th birthday party. What, he arrived at your birthday party? Yes, he did. Because my birthday party, because I am a fucking nerd, was at Old Trafford. You used to have they probably do it at Red Cafe now. But back then you could just do it at Old Trafford, and it would be in the museum. And they'd put like a trestle table up, and you could invite like 6 or 7 friends. And I was wearing the absolutely mega, now iconic, the sort of red and black Aztec tracksuit that they re-released. Yep, I'm wearing that. I have got photographs from that there party. I will try and dig them out. But yeah, I'm wearing that. And one of the parts of I mean, think about how mental this is. One of the sort of features of the party is that you get to go in the press conference room. But this particular day, couldn't go in the press conference room because there's a fella by the name of Eric Cantona being signed and unveiled while we're at Old Trafford. So as a way of a sorry, the shirt in which he was presented on the pitch with, which was an XL men's, by the way, 9-year-old boy, was given to us. Now, my dad used to smoke roll-ups. In fact, he still does smoke roll-ups. I don't know why I say he used to smoke roll-ups. My dad smokes roll-ups. And I can just remember, we're standing out the back of the K stand where it used to have the steps going up to it after the party. And we didn't really know who Eric Cantona was. Not like now where you know about 17-year-old South American players. Like, he was still relatively new to the Premier League, certainly for a 9-year-old. I remember my dad walking over with his roll-up like this. You know, just give us that. And for those with a good memory, when Cantona was unveiled, the shirt him and Sir Alex held up on the pitch just said Cantona, it had no number on it. Now, those of you with a brain will know that the word Cantona was written in, like, white. And Manchester United numbers and names, when they eventually came in, which was the following season, they didn't actually have squad numbers for the 92-93 season. They came in the season after. No, our numbers were white. However, not long after Cantona signed and started playing, my mum saw a number on it. A cloth, black, number 7. So, that's the story of how I got Eric Cantona's shirt. It was technically the first shirt I had with a name on it. So, why Eric Cantona? Well, Cantona walked out onto the pitch, and like any 9-year-old, not exactly confident in life, don't exactly know who you are, still sort of finding and discovering yourself. Cantona walks out onto the pitch with his chest up and his chin out, and he plays some of the most confident, arrogant, impressive, beautiful football that my 9-year-old eyes had ever seen. This guy's the best player I've ever seen, by far. He might be the best player on earth, which sounds giddy, but he did come second or third or something in the Ballon d'Or that year, so not that giddy. Oh yeah, what have we got here? We got sheep. Proper staring me out. We've got a couple chickens, some geese over there. This is the gaff that I'm going to go spook out one day and scare them. Right, Cantona made what was like a black and white, in my head it's like, it was black and white match reports in the newspaper is how I sort of remembered football. And then Cantona came and it ain't black and white no more. It ain't. This is full colour HD. He made football beautiful for me. I saw angles, I saw runs, I saw those delicate little backspin chips. Ain't nobody doing backspin chips before Cantona, man. So it lands perfectly for Dennis Irwin to hit it first time and bury it. I saw stuff that I didn't know you could do. So Cantona took the black and white game and made it colourful for me. And then went on this incredible run, and United had gone from this sort of plucky cup team to winning a league. And it was largely because of him. Obviously, we lose the league when he gets banned, but otherwise we'd have won 5 in a row with him. He comes back, you all remember the game, against Liverpool. He scores from the spot. United have been on a terrible run. You don't win that with kids. And then he leads us to the second of our doubles, scoring the winner in the 85th minute at Wembley, which my auntie actually called to the minute. Cantona 1-0, 85th minute. And then age 30, 31, he dips. Or just about to be 31, I think. He leaves, he retires. He goes to be an actor. and an artist and just go and do some mad shit. At an age when, if you think back to the likes of Giggs and Scholes, what they were doing, age 30, and how long they carried on afterwards. But that was Cantona. He was reckless and impulsive, even in how he retired. And he had slowed down, he had put a little bit of timber on. But he was still so good. He could have carried on for years. And I think Sir Alex would have let him. Because he was clearly someone that he got away with murder with. But why are we talking about Cantona today? Well, also, I have to give him an absolute shout out for his continued unwavering support of the Palestinian people and the oppression in which they live under. I think it speaks to who he is as a man. And that's why he will always be my king. But news emerged yesterday that Eric Cantona is one of the legends that has held talks with the consortium from the UAE about becoming the new Manchester United owners. Now, this all kind of broke a little bit the start of last week, pretty much a week ago. And when you think about that region, Rio's obviously just moved there. Like I said, I text Rio and he didn't know anything about it. I text Paddy and he didn't reply. My money was literally on those two. Like, if you was going to tell me who's getting involved with this here, it'd have been those two. I wouldn't have anticipated it being Cantona. I've told this story a few times, like, but one of the most frustrating nights of my life was I went to go and watch an audience for Eric Cantona. And it was frustrating for a couple of reasons. People in the crowd were just chanting his name and not actually listening to what he was saying, which is not the whole point of an audience with Cantona, is it? And the guy that was interviewing him was a fucking bell. Cantona went right down a rabbit hole, talking about how there's no young people at the match no more, how there are increasing pressures from TV and UEFA and finances and blah, 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 and how more things need to be done to ring fence getting under 21s into football games and subsidising ticket costs, and it was mad interesting. And the interviewer clearly just had a list of questions, wasn't listening to him, and was just waiting for him to stop gabbering on about politics in football so he could ask the Sellers Park question. And I literally went like this: oh, for fuck's sake. How many times do you need him to answer the same fucking question? You can even see it in Cantona's face when he asked him, and he was like, yeah, cool. Tell us about Sellers Park. And you see Eric kind of go, oh, for fuck's sake. Now, one thing's for sure. You think Jim Radcliffe talking to the media is entertaining? Fucking Eric Cantona as an owner would be outrageously good. I even said it as a manager, like, I would have him as a manager. He came back to manage New York Cosmos in a pre-season friendly about 15 years ago, something like that. And he's on the sideline in a suit, open collared shirt, and then a tie just wrapped around the shirt, not done up, just fucking, no one else can pull that off. And I just thought, mate, I'd give anything for Eric Cantona. I'd be stood in that dugout. Anything. Would he be any good? I don't know, probably not. I don't care. I don't care, because I'm fucking here for it. And I adore how that man sees and understands football. And I adore how he thinks. And maybe you do need a little bit of left field thinking to do something different and innovative. Because the one thing you can say about Eric, a little bit like Cristiano, a little bit like David Beckham, a little bit like Brian Robson, 4 entirely different, utterly legendary number 7s that have played for our football club, is the one thing that all of them shared was grit and hard work. And they all brought a different sort of flair to that position and to that shirt. They all had flair, But flair came secondary to the hard work and the dedication and the commitment to training that all 4 of them had. And I would be happy having any of those 4 involved in a football club that I follow, because it is the sort of ethos that I think goes with it. They were gifted, absolutely, but they were gifted with the message of hard work. And I have no idea if Cantona would be a good owner. I have no idea if any of our legends would be good owners. Because it's a difference, the same way in being a good player and being a good manager are not even closely aligned. What makes a good owner? You do need to have business people around you, you do. The club has to make money, it can't just exist and spend money. It has to bring money in. You have to have succession and future planning. You probably have to do some shady shit at times as well, which maybe you don't quite want to do, but it's almost like one of those necessary evils. But it wouldn't be boring. I'll tell you that for free. It would not be boring. And I would probably cry the biggest, manliest tears ever if Eric Cantona became our manager and actually got his hands on the European Cup as our owner. If we ever won the Champions League and the Glazers went onto the pitch the way they do with a Super Bowl and lifted it, I'd throw up and I'd be all sorts of angry. But if Cantona did it, I'd cry. Well, I guess it just shows how different they are as people. But yeah, so the news is Cantona is the legend that they've spoken to. Now, I did see some reports, not backed up, because it was Ben Jacobs who broke the news. I did see some reports from other people saying that he'd accepted the idea of becoming the head of this consortium from UAE. And I love how people are like, oh, I thought he was against sports washing. One, that's fucking mad racist to just assume anybody from the Gulf means sports washing. Sports washing is because it's the fucking government, you absolute divs. Plenty of people from the Gulf, just the same way as plenty of people from Failsworth, if they made billions, could easily get involved with running a club. Nation of origin means absolutely fuck all. It's where that money comes from. And you can say, look, every billionaire's shady, and I'd have to hold my hands up and go, yeah, probably right. Or mental, or both. That might be true. But you can't just lump in the way PSG are owned and operated with Qatar, the way City are owned and operated by UAE. You can't, or the way Newcastle are owned by Saudi, you can't lump all of those things in together. Just if it was another random-ass fella from somewhere in UAE, or a consortium of people, business people. UAE's got like mad fucking shipping billionaires. It's not even necessarily all from oil, even though I guess you further down the line you go, that's true, but you know what I mean? It is what it is. Is that a little bit of copium, Steve? Fucking might be. But the point is, the sports washing is a political thing, and it's done by nations and politics. It's not done by fellas. And yeah, I'm sure that they'd be buying United for some sort of political gain. On some level, yeah, 1,000,000%. That's what United is as an asset now. Got a couple more chickens out now, we've got there, four chickens. And kind of hoog. But yeah, man. I thought last week that it was a load of bollocks. I didn't think that it was very real in terms of it happening. And it's messy as hell anyway. In terms of how and where and what this happens and how this goes down, and are Ineos involved, or is it all the Glazers' decision in terms of the sell? It's not actually that straightforward. It's pretty complicated. But I'd be pretty much open to that change, to be honest with you. Cantona leading the consortium, even if they were horrible, corrupt James Bond villain types. if they got Cantona in as the face of it, well, they already know how to play the game a little bit better than the Glazers ever did. So there's a plus. And that might be the thing that you need to do to sort of calm the media down and actually play their game a little bit, because we don't play their game and we suffer because of it. Anyway, that is me for the day. Well, for this video at least, anyway. I'm going to take Little one to school. You get myself over to the office and crank out all today's work. Big game for Paddock tomorrow. Our league only release fixtures like 5 or 6 at a time, which is incredibly frustrating, especially when you've got those lads in Ireland that want to come over, because we have an Irish supporters club. Makes planning that and putting on days where we can get, you know, a couple of hundred down to the ground hard work. Playing Knutsford away tomorrow. They've just given us the next 6 weeks of fixtures. Basically, we're playing another 3 out of the top 6. While all those around us seem to have relatively easy games. Which means by Christmas, we've basically played everyone in the top half of the division. Most of them twice, a couple of them just the once. Which should mean that second half of the season, we're doing a title charge. There's some teams that haven't really played anyone that sit right in around us. Got to play everyone home and away twice. I guess I'd rather be where we are in the mixer. You know, basically we can go top if we win our games in hand. With the so-called easier games to play, than I would maybe, you know, when the pressure's on back end of the season, having to just play all the teams in and around the top that might be thinking that they're in the mix for a promotion. But it is what it is, isn't it? We only play what they give us, and we've done all right so far this year. So we'll see. We will see, but we could be in a real good spot. We've got to get to the end of November first. Get to the end of November with them fixtures that we've got, and we're still where we are now. It's looking pretty good for us. Anyway, hope you all have a good Friday. We'll be back on with XG Files with Ronnie a little bit later, and then a brew with Jay. If you want to come along and check all of those out, come do it. I think the Q&A with Janine's getting released on Patreon today, so maybe check out that. Otherwise, have a good weekend. See you in a bit.